Hey, what's up guys? Shadow Steel here. And welcome back to Railroads Online. It's been a while since I've recorded this. In fact, this is the second time I've had to record this because the first time I recorded this, the mic was not turned on. So I recorded this whole thing and didn't even get the audio in it. So, yeah. So I bought a new locomotive to help us get this whole train up to the gold mine. And while we get everything sorted up here, or get everything ready to roll here, there's a lot I want to talk about today. So this is going to be more of a podcast style format for us, or for my videos, which is typically most of my videos at this rate. So let's get started. Full send. Oh shit. Hold on, guys. It's just I probably will leave that in the video, honestly. I'll probably leave that little bit in the video, but yeah, I have a buddy of mine that I talk to on Discord, and he calls every now and again, so I'll probably leave that in the video just as like a little blooper. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot to discuss right now. Not the least of which is all the stuff, like, this is kind of what I was wanting to get at with Frisco 1522. Or like this is kind of this. I originally started the last video off with the Frisco 1522. When I was recording and the audio didn't capture it, but yeah, there's been rumors going around lately that the Frisco 1522 is going to see a return to service, or possibly seen a return. Possibly seeing a return to service. All right, here we go. Now we're moving. I had to respond to him actually, as that's why. So every time you see the menu pop up, that is me just trying to respond to my friend over on Discord. Anyway, so yeah, there's some rumors going around about the Frisco 1522 and its possible restoration. So if you don't know, it was back in July, so July of this year, 2026. That a rumor that something like that there was work being done on the 1522. Now, granted, she has turned 100 years old this year, and she is far and away she's still in decent shape. There's some things that do need to be adjusted, reworked, and kind of made sure everything's good here. Probably gonna need to get you moving here, sir. In terms of like the condition she's in. But for the most part, the locomotive could see a return to service. And the whole thing is that it was started up because one of the members of the museum's board popped up and posted some pictures of the possible revival of the 1522. What the hell? Where are we going? Where are we going? What are we doing? Where are we going? Oh, we're going on the side track here. Got it. And he showed off some pictures. I've talked about this on a previous video, my Railwork Sundays video, which was shown, which I will link in the top corner here. But she is possibly seeing a return to service. There's been no confirmed or like any sort of like information to suggest that this is going to be the case. But if it is, that would be something, like I said in the previous video, that is going to be something that I am going to be excited for. So it's one of those things where the locomotive has a special place in my heart, like I said in the Railwork Sundays video, and the idea of her coming back to surface is a big fucking deal. And the last couple of videos I've posted on this channel as of late were all centered around the 1522. So there's been that. But there's been no information since that rumor started going around, at least not from the museum side of things. Which, again, to be expected. I don't expect them to kind of go in and say like, hey, yeah, we're restoring... It's just basically them saying, we're looking into the feasibility of restoring this locomotive back to operation. And that, in and of itself, has sparked a ton of people talking about it and, like, just throwing in their 2 cents. And I've thrown in my 2 cents a little bit. Most of which is like, well, if you do restore it, where the hell are you going to run it, and where the hell are you going to get the money for it? Because I know that the museum is all privately owned at this point. So that's something that you got to consider with this restoration. There's no public funding for this whatsoever. And they're going to need a lot of money to restore that locomotive. And secondly, and of course, like, with it being an old 482 locomotive, a 1926 Baldwin from that has been around for 100 years and has been operating for over that has been in operation once or a handful of years, like was operating over 30 years ago now, or almost 30 years ago now. It's been almost 30 years since she last operated. She retired in 2002. It is now 2026. In fact, her first excursion occurred 38 years ago today, which was approximately the same amount of time she had sat at the museum before she was returned to service in 1988. Keep in mind that she was retired from the Frisco Railroad in 1950, in 1959. She was restored to service back in 1988. Which was 37 years after she was retired. And then she's retired in 2002 and has not turned a wheel since 2002. We're approaching about 30 years of her sitting in that yard at the museum for 30 years. That is big. Like, that's huge in terms of, like, how long this locomotive has been operating. She has basically, for half of her life, she has either been operating or has been sitting idle. That tree needs to go. This tree's in the way. Get out of here, tree. Probably should have waited until the train rolled by, but oh well. Got another bridge here. Looks like a little curved viaduct. I like this viaduct the better. Are both locomotives running? No, this one's idle. But yeah, it's one of those things where if it does go through, I am excited. But if it doesn't go through, well, who knows? Okay, we're gonna get a shot from this angle. Video! Back train! There we go, got a couple. Woohoo! Another shot. There's another angle up here. Oh, perfect, right through the siding. Let's not go this way, sir. Boop! A little S-bend out there. But yeah, I do think that in general the idea of I would love to see her operating, and she's currently one of, like, if she does get into operation, she'd be one of 2 482 mountain class steam locomotives to be brought back to operation. The other being New York Central 3001. Now, whether or not 3001 actually does see the light of day, or like whether or not like First Go 1522 sees the light of day and sees the actual restoration, well, you never know. Stranger things have happened. Like I said, we're having New York Central 3001 return to service. And that in of itself is that was a big surprise when that was announced. Because it's like the only New York Central locomotive to be restored. Because it's a New York Central steam locomotive. That's going to be a big deal for anyone. There we go, got a shot. It's actually a pretty good shot. Now, let's not get us flung off the cliff here. I feel like we're going a little fast in this curve, but we'll see. Yeah, she's going pretty fast. Or not too fast, but fast enough. Yeah, I can hear her pick up speed here. Oh, shit! Well, there she goes. Ah, fuck. Got something at least. Did we lose any cars back there? No. I think all our cars are still on the tracks. Just let her coast. Should be fine. She should be going up great here. Oh, Lord. That's annoying. Alright, where's the switch up here? We need to make sure she's going on the right track. Yep. I figured I was not lined. Yeah, like stranger things have happened with the steam preservation side of things. Like I said, we're seeing the return of 614. She's being restored back to operation. Holy hell, that is fast. Why are you going so fast? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Besides, we're going to be hitting up a hill here soon. But yeah, 614 is being restored back to operation. 3001 has been announced to be restored back to operation. The amount of stuff that has been going on in preservation as a whole has been really interesting. And like the idea that the 1522 might see a return to service, that's still pretty fucking big to me. She is not a very powerful locomotive, but powerful enough where she can still handle modern excursion trains, albeit with a little bit of help. So she's not like she's not a small engine to be fair. She's still fairly powerful. And with that locomotive, it's like the idea that restoring the massive 482 back to operation would not be out of the question. The issue, honestly, is where the hell do you plan to operate the damn thing? She's too big for most short line. She's kind of in that, she's in that middle ground where she can be operated as a much safer option than most bigger steam locomotives. Like 614, for example, that is like, what the hell are you going to do with that thing when she's ready to be restored? She has an extremely large, high-stepping northern that is designed for high speeds and designed to pull fast passenger trains. She's not really designed to take care, like to essentially, she's not really designed to be going at slow speeds on short lines and whatnot. So the idea of restoring that locomotive, like, if you plan to operate it, by all means do it, but like do the thing. But again, it's one of those like, so what's the exact plan type thing? Like where are we going with this? And that's kind of my question with a lot of this stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a great idea on paper, but like when you actually start digging into it, it's like, what the hell is the plan here? So yeah, but that's kind of the state of affairs with preservation lately. Is that like everybody's kind of throwing their hat in the ring and like, oh yeah, I want to restore this locomotive back to operation, and then you look at the actual like plan on paper, it's like, why did we think this was a good idea? So yeah, it's just, I will say, the idea of restoring the 1522, it's perfectly feasible. This is one of those locomotives that is straight up a perfect fit for kind of how railroad preservation, the railroad preservation scene has been the past couple of years. You're not going to run on very many Class 1s anymore, and if you do, it's a very rare treat, because the only two railroads that really have an active steam program, or even allow for steam operations on their lines, have their own steam programs. So you have the Union Pacific and the CPKC. They both have operating steam locomotives in their roster, so they're not going to allow any other railroad to operate steam locomotives on their roster. And maybe you can get an agreement with the CSX Transportation, but even then, you're kind of limited on the trackage you can go on. So you've got that, and then you've got the whole thing with like, there's a lot of questions there, honestly, which is how this. And that seems to be the case with a lot of steam restorations, like CNO 614 and CNO 2716. Both of those locomotives, great locomotives to see back in action. I would love to see both locomotives return to service. But where the hell do you plan to run them? Yes, granted, 2716 is a Berkshire, same kind of locomotive that 765 and 1225 operate, that the same locomotive type as 765 and 1225, but both of those locomotives have places to operate their locomotives that either they own or have a working agreement with. 2716 doesn't have that yet, and she probably won't have that. 1361, again, great locomotive to see back, so to see possibly restored back to operation. And while she's a high-stepping Pacific, I would not be against, I don't think she wouldn't be out of place on a smaller, more stopping branch line, because, again, that's where those K4s ended up towards the end of their career. They were commuter engines by the end of their career. They were not designed as long-distance passenger trains anymore. So there was that. But yeah, it's like, the more you look into this kind of stuff, the more it's interesting, to say the least. Because there are aspects of all of this. Whoops, shit. Like, all of these restoration projects, like, well, what's the plan here, sir? What do you plan on doing? And that's kind of the thing with a lot of these projects. It's like, well, if we do operate, if we do get this thing restored, then what's the next step? Like, what's the next plan? What's the plan after that? So it's definitely a situation where I don't see an exact issue right off the bat anyway, but it's definitely something to keep in mind when these restoration projects get underway. Because yes, it's nice to have an operating steam locomotive. Yes, it'd be cool to have one. But again, it's a matter of like, well, once you get it operating, where is it going to run? Because a lot of these locomotives, they're not designed to be kept in a museum while under steam. A great example of this is Santa Fe 2926. She's a big honking norther. She's a big giant norther. And they've been slowly piecing together a working relationship with the local railroad, local commuter rail system, and BNSF to operate for an excursion service on the main line. So, now granted, I don't think the BNSF is not as open as they used to be, like back in the early 2000s. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, the BNSF was a very welcoming railroad for a lot of steam excursions. Santa Fe 3751, 1522, 4449, they all operated under BNSF for a little bit. And they were very well welcomed by the BNSF in terms of like operating over these lines. But in general, it's a matter of in general, a lot of this stuff, like a lot of those, like management changes for a lot of these railroads. Great example is the Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern had a steam program between 2011 and 2015 called the 21st Century Steam Program, and many people don't remember this program. The steam program, the majority of people that know of the steam program in that period of time probably remember it for one locomotive. 611. Norfolk Western 611, because she was brought into service in 2015. Well, but she was brought into service after the steam program, that particular program ended. Wick Moorman, who was I believe Wick Moorman, I don't know who exactly the CEO of Norfolk Southern was at the time, but the guy who was operating, who was the CEO of Norfolk Southern, left in 2015. And the new CEO was like, what the fuck are we doing here? Get this shit out of here. Get this steam preservation crap out of here. And you started to slowly see them kind of phasing out the heritage fleet as a sort of I mean, the newest heritage units they added were like a couple of years ago. And I think there was originally plans to have a whole bunch of them. And they decided, nah, we're not going to do that. And just scrapped it. And then when they saw the CSX and many of these other railroads were starting to build new heritage units, like, oh shit, like, what are we doing here? They were just jumping on the trend. Like, Norfolk Southern is kind of one of those weird railroads that just, for the most part, they don't really have long-term preservation goals. I don't think they're in great shape in that sense. We're slowing. We might be able to make it up the hill with just this locomotive. Get up off the thing. Got stuck on the hill. We still have full throttle? Full throttle, full rig. We haven't moved the bar at all from this. And we're slowing significantly. I'm going to open up the throttle on this locomotive. Woohoo! Are the windows open here? No, I do not. There we go. Alright, we're good. I'm trying to not use this locomotive as much as I can, because it's not required, really. This is one of the benefits. This would be one of the benefits of multiplayer, is having one guy in the back doing, like, keeping an eye on things while you operate the locomotive up front. Okay, we're back up to speed. I'm going to shut the throttle down a little bit. Yeah, steam locomotive preservation. Always a big can of worms when you start diving into it. What the hell? Oh, that's the, I didn't know this was right here. Oh, that's funny. Leaning out the window here? Okay, that's better. Whew. So, yeah, steam locomotive preservation. Always kind of something you want to, like, make sure you have a plan for if anything goes wrong. That's one of those things, like, you don't want to fuck around with. So, yeah. You never know. Going in the siding here. Got it. Probably should have gone on the main, but oh well. Stuck in the thing. Alright, shut the throttle off. Let her coast. I'm stuck! Get back on the locomotive! The locomotive is just slightly faster than me. What the hell? Oh, here we go. Alright, here we are. Oh, we're slowing down significantly now. What the hell? Did we just get on the hill? We must have. Okay, fair enough. There you go. 25. Alright. Oh, jeez. I need to really rework these sidings because they're really set up oddly. Line through there. Got it. Kind of slugging it, but that's fine. Slug. It's a fairly long train, but these two locomotives seem to be handling it well. But, yeah, it's just... The more of the, like, a lot of these projects, a lot of these steam restoration projects and steam operations and all this kind of stuff, it's like, well, it's nice to think of it, and like I said multiple times at this point, like, what's the plan once everything's done? Like, that's my question. Are we going to straight up, like, are we going to see, many, like, are we going to actively, like, work on this stuff? Like, are we gonna work on getting steam locomotive operations back on the main line? Are we gonna work with short line railroads where we can operate these locomotives at slower speeds but, like, more frequently? Oh, this is a long drag up here. Okay. As long as we can get up the hill. This is a steep hill here. Alright. Yeah. It is what it is in this day and age. He's stalling. There we go, 50. I wonder what this grade is, honestly. I never checked that. There's definitely a steep grade. And we're going through no agua over here. I think I've mentioned this sighting before. It is named after the Colorado Railroad Museum sighting, but the same name. We go down here. There it is. No agua. No agua. No water. No water. Okay. I still don't know what causes this. It's very annoying. Okay. We are lined for this track, which is not the siding. That's good. Alright, let's get moving. Do I have a door? No, I do not have lights on the house. Should be... Where is she at? She's still climbing? There she is. There she is. Around this curve. Got bounced around there a bit. Holding shift is never a good idea when you're flying. But it's faster than anything else. The telephone poles just end there abruptly. Woo! Up a little bit. Yeah, I just ended up like there, but that's fine. I should have. I think I was planning to build this a little further out, so. Another thing I should have probably mentioned at this point is that there was I made my first ever music video, for, well, real life. It's an RMV, as I call it, rail fan music video. It's just centered around the first Go 1522, and that's kind of the other thing I was doing lately. So that's going to be linked in the corner here, as well as in the top, as well as in the description and everything. Wow, we're flying on this hill. Oh, the other locomotive's still operating. That's fair. Not a bad shot, though. Gotta admit. And the curves are just smooth enough out here that we're not going to deal with... We're not going to have a problem as we get up to speed. Bong-eating, bong-eating. We're good. It's good enough from the shot. Another S-bend out here. And we got a bridge up here where I can do another shot. I think, yeah, right about here. Whoop, boom. Oh. That'll work. That's a good shot too. Not too bad, honestly. The way this route has been so far, it's like we've been slowly getting up to speed. Okay, come on, where are you? Okay. I'll just compress the time here just to make sure that we actually see the locomotive in time. Did it stall? What happened? Oh, there she is. Okay, there we go. We're back to normal. There we go. Okay, here we go. Now we're moving. Anyway, back to the music video. Or back to what I was talking about earlier. So I made a music video featuring the Frisco 5022, my dad's recordings of the whole thing, and just all that kind of stuff. And I was very proud of how it turned out. Like I said, I linked it in the top corner here, top corner on the side here, and it's basically just sliced together footage of my dad's recording of the Frisco 5022 while she was operating her final excursion. Just gonna get her throttle open just so we don't slow down too much here. But it was it's just something I wanted to do because I've always had that. I've done this before a handful of times. Back when I was very young and I didn't have a YouTube channel, I made a few of those back in the day. I think one was using the song "The Pretender" from the Foo Fighters, and the Trains 12, I want to say, or yeah, it's definitely a Trains game using that and the song "The Pretender." And it was Southern Pacific, the 4449 Freedom Train. No, it was not Trains 2012. It was Trains Ultimate Collection (UTC), Ultimate Trains Collection (UTC). Because it was a much older version of the 4449 model. And I just did this whole little goofy music video using the song "The Pretender" and that locomotive. I didn't know about this later until much later that particular song, it's based around like being against the government, or not the government, but basically being against authority. And it's like that kind of rebel type thing, which is kind of funny, honestly, because I used it to kind of be America, fuck yeah type thing. And there's actually a lot of songs like that out there. Born in the USA is actually about, it's kind of that same thing where it's more against the United States than it actually is for it, and yet it's used in the sense of oh yeah, we're born in the USA, we're great American people. No, we're not. No, nobody's perfect. That's kind of the thing there. But my particular music video that I just released recently, using the 5022, I used a song from the game Pal World. If you don't know anything about that, you'll know that it has that. Well, it's been jokingly called Pokemon with Guns. And the song I used was the I think it's the ending theme of the game. And it took a lot of effort to just record, to set that all up. And it was used, and originally the idea came about the original idea was more or less setting up, it was for an ending bit on my last video, on my last Railwork Sundays video, and I thought, well, this could be actually a good a good music video actually. Because as I was looking around on YouTube, I noticed that particular song was nowhere on YouTube, aside from one video altogether, and it was just a blank screen with the music in the background. That's terrible. That's just terrible. You just lazily put the music on, just lazily put a black screen with music behind it. And I decided, why don't I just make a full-on music video for it? And I did. And I'm very proud of how it turned out. Yes, there's it could use some work. Yes, it could have used some work. Again, it's old footage, so it's not very clean in that sense. But it's definitely something I was very proud of and very happy with. Thumbnail could use some work, and the title could use some work. But aside from that, it's good. So, there's that. And I do like all of that. It's really nice. How are we doing? Oh, it's slowing down again. Alright, release the brakes. Alright, now we're picking on speed and we're going up the hill. Alright, here we go. Up the siding. I'm going to send the throttle open on this locomotive because we're going to need to get up at every speed as we can get. There we go. Shit! Boing! I'm here. Alright, we're good. Let's get the locomotive moving. Because we're getting up a steep grade here. This is a 4% grade up here. And we need to make sure we're getting up some speed. And we're slowing down immediately. Fuck. Right. All right. We're getting up the hill, but we're gonna take our sweet time here. So we gotta make sure we're running uphill. So yeah, it's been a long journey for a lot of this stuff here. There's a lot of things going on in the railroading industry as a whole. But I gotta admit, the more I play this game, the more I find to talk about. And I forgot to mention, there was a comment on my last video asking if this map would ever be released onto, be out there to download. And I did do that a long time ago. There was actually a version of this map that I released on the Railroads Online Discord. And I do need to update that particular version of the map, because there is a section of track in that old version of the map that was not set up correctly, and as a result, you'll derail on it every time you go across it. So there's that. But with that said, I will be releasing an updated version of that map on this, probably by the time this video goes out, or if not, the couple days afterwards. That will be linked in the description down below. So if you really want to operate over the same set of trackage, again, and I'll have two different saves. I have one with the locomotives and one without the locomotives. And the one without the locomotives will have just a simple Glenbrook and 10 log cars, I guess? Yeah, 10 log cars and a caboose. So you'll probably, so you'll have it. You'll have plenty of running with, and you'll be able to run with it. But, yeah, I think it's about time I do release this out to the general public. And that's kind of the other thing. It's like, I've released it once, and I always planned to, like, release it to I wanted to make sure people were I wanted to make sure this was good. And I think with how it's set up now, some of the little outlying areas being built up and whatnot, I think it's about time I do release it. And I'm sure plenty of other people are going to build better looking little scenes out here. But I'm very happy with how this turned out. I'm very happy with it. But yeah, we're almost to the top of the mountain here. It's going to take us some time, but we're almost there. Hopefully we won't stall out, but I don't think we will. Just need to make sure that both locomotives reach the top of the grade. No, not that. There we go. I hate the fact that it's the middle mouse button. I hate that. Never good. And that's got a full firebox there. How's the water supply on this tender? Yeah, I could use some water when we get up there. And I think the other locomotive is in good shape too, actually. Yeah, we could use some water in this one. I did refill it before we left. And so yeah, you're in good shape too. So I think we have another. Let me check here on the map. I think this is the final leg here. Yeah, this is the final leg. So we're just climbing this. This particular segment's the steepest bit, and it's the final segment. So. Come on, you. Come on, come on. The only reason I have it set up like this is because of that. This was actually the original plan, to have a train going up through the top here, and then having the iron ore mine being visible in the bottom there. But we took the long way around, boys. I think that actually shows up on recording, too, in terms of like how long the footage is. I'm gonna check. 46 minutes, not too bad. It's actually not too bad at all, in terms of the timing. Should probably put this in window capture rather than full screen. Or put this in window mode rather than full screen, because that flashing bit has always been annoying. But I think that's just something with, I think that's only something that is with Unreal Engine, because I don't think some of the other games they have that are in Unreal Engine do that when they're in windowed mode. So, we'll see. I'll mess around with the settings a little bit later. Oh wait, what time is it too? We might be actually getting... No, it's noon. That's fine. Alright. We're almost to the top of the grade, and it looks like it's actually getting pretty full in clouds here. Which is kind of fitting, because real life is looking the same way. That's funny. Oh, there's the top. There's the shed that denotes the siding. All right, ring the bell. So that was 4. Ring the bell! Ring the bell! Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead! What the fuck am I doing? Alright, we're at the top of the grade. Woohoo! We're lined into the siding here. There's another locomotive just sitting on the siding that way. We need to get out of here. Alright. Your throttle off here, boy. Oh, it is raining. What the hell? When did it start raining? Ugh. There we go. Huh, funny. It just started to rain. Right as it starts, as it looks like it's going to rain in real life. That is fucking hilarious. Alright, well, we'll get these cars unloaded, and then we'll go ahead and end the video, boys. Because we have the raw iron. Specifically, we brought the raw iron up here specifically because we wanted to get this cleaned up. Get more equipment out here. Alright, good. Release the brakes. Woo! Over here. Alright, well, that's not gonna work. Oh, maybe. Whoa! Alright, we got it. Sort of. I don't think we got everything, but we got enough. Get out of the... I hate the fact that they added collision to that, the stakes there. That's hilarious. Alright. 13 out of 100. And we need more, Okay. So we've got the train unloaded. We're going to make a stop here, and looks like it's going to start storming. So might as well just shut her down for the night. Or shut her down for a little bit. I'll get things running. So... Okay. Yeah, I missed 2 because I had 5 cards of raw iron, which would have been 15. So we missed 2 of them when we unloaded. Fair enough. Okay, so now we're gonna pull into this yard here, and then we're gonna drop off everything here. We'll probably have to do some switching and everything. So that's gonna be another video for us. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and comment down below. Subscribe if you guys want more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.